Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning back, welcome back. And for those of you that are supporting me over on Patreon through a subscription, thank you so very much for your subscription. They mean the world to me. This is the daily forecast for all signs, so this pertains to you whenever you're seeing it. It is originally created for Saturday, the 17th of July, but it's not solely for that date. I try and believe that when you're seeing the video is when you're supposed to be seeing it. So if it's showing up out of timing, right, on a different day than the 17th of July, it might be the day that you need to hear this, or it might be the day that this applies in your life. I do speak in broad terms, so you have to kind of figure out where this reading will fit best in your life around a certain person, situation, something you're dealing with, thoughts you've been having. But if it does resonate or does make sense, please feel free to take it and use it in whatever beneficial way you can do so. Please check out the drop-down menu below the video on any of my daily videos. In there's some housekeeping stuff as to things I want you to think about when utilizing my readings. Also, all of my contact information and social media information is in the Linktree link. So if you're interested in booking a private reading or following me on, say, Instagram or at my Facebook business page, all of that information is available for you there. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, and if you like the content that I'm creating, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified when I go live. And please hit that like button. I can't stress that enough. It seems like about half of you hit the like button, but yet I have the same. I don't have a ton of views, but I do have about 20 some odd views every video. And it seems like about half of you know how to hit the like button and half of you don't. And so it makes me wonder, are you guys liking my videos? I mean, like enjoying them actually or not? So if you are, please up those odds and hit that thumbs up button at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so let's just get into this. That's enough of me reprimanding you, right? Okay, so let's see. Now, it just makes me wonder if maybe these views are just people dropping by, coming across the content and not staying. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why my channel does not seem to want to grow. It has been a little bit, I don't know, frustrating. So let's see. Oh, wow. What a pretty card. So we have the Five of Fire. So this would be the Five of Wands. This is Black Cohosh, which I don't know this plant whatsoever. But what I will say about this card, what I do know about the Five of Wands, the Five of Wands is what the card that I usually call the whole lot of fuckery. Although I think this is a really beautiful rendition of the Five of Wands. It does feel a bit crowded with this plant here, this black cohosh. I might actually read. Let me see what they say here in the HERBCRAFTERS book. 1 second. Give me one moment. Let me go to the fives. It does look like stuff is fighting for space here. If you look at these white flowers, as I look for finding this, 1 moment. Can't even read. It's too early in the morning. It says anger is sacred. Burn through the slumber of helplessness and complacency. Resist. Women's rage is a force that will change the world. Wow, that's kind of cool. I kind of feel like this is definitely a card about, just in a traditional tarot deck, it's definitely a card about competition, things getting maybe a bit out of hand, people's feelings or opinions taking over, and it becomes more about people's opinions or their personalities than the, like, say, principles, right, of what's the, maybe the right or correct way to be or act or say or do, right? And we kind of let that sort of get the best of us or overtake the situation. It is a 5, so it's transitory, meaning we're not stuck in this completely, but it is disruptive. It can be a very disruptive energy. I like how she puts, resist and the sort of the emphasis on transformative energy that the Five of Wands can have. It is that sort of struggle or that, what's the word I want to look for here? That disruption that kind of evolves us or transitions us to a better place, to a better understanding, right? There's always a victor that kind of will come out of the Five of Wands at some point. I don't think it's as important that you are the victor per se, as much as you've learned the lesson of whatever it is that this situation, person, competition, upset has tried to teach you or show you, right? The one thing I do like about this card and this rendition of the artist's work here is that that star up there makes me think about the transition and the clarity that comes after whatever disrupt we might experience through the energy of this Five of Wands, right? With this black cohosh here, it sort of looks to me like it's overgrown or fighting for space, competing to maybe even get to that star, to get to that sense of peace and purity, because it is a white star. So to me, it makes me think of a sense of calm. It makes me think of a sense of purity, that sort of a thing. So as it's reaching out or growing towards that, it might have to do some work, right? Or be strained in some way, face some sort of adversity. Some of that adversity to me would be that red wall that's behind it, right? That's that kind of fiery, wandsy energy where it can get a little bit maybe intense or a little bit heated in whatever we're dealing with today. But I'm not threatened by this card or worried about this card, right? To me, this card can oftentimes just signify sometimes growing pains or adjustments that we need to make to deal or face situations that are going on around us that might not feel so, comfortable, or that might be a little bit annoying. We can work our way through them. We can move our way through them, and we will. I love the star up there, because to me the star indicates the opportunity that comes after having gone through this experience, right? I really get this feeling that star is that moment where we sort of have the clarity, the understanding of whatever the totality of the situation was, whatever it was that we struggled against. It taught us something, and we end up owning that through the star image, right? The representation of the star says to me that it's also giving me a little bit of that, the thing from when those after school specials, the more you know, that star that shoots across the screen. So to me, it feels like that wisdom or that knowledge is gained even through some of the experiences that we don't necessarily enjoy, right? So do I think this is the worst card to have? No. I think that we might find ourselves being challenged today in some way, shape, or form. We might find ourselves trying to carve out a space or a path for ourselves, and we might have to fight for that. We might feel as though we have to fight for that path, or convince others of our right to that path, or of our choices in going after what it is that we want, right? And that's sort of also Five of Wands energy. The desire and the action that's in there, remember, it is a Wands card, so it is about desire and action, right? We may want to feel like we're on top. We may want to prove our point. We may want to prove ourselves right. That could be some of this Five of Wands energy too, that involves us in situations that kind of can be a little bit annoying or whatever. Ultimately, in the end, if we're flexible about it, right, I think, and we're able to move through it, we will get some semblance of an understanding and awareness and an education and intelligence that we didn't otherwise have. That is like I said, that star there. So look forward to that. If there's a little bit of work on hand today, get in there and do it. It's kind of, what I would say. What was I going to say? You are entitled to as much of a say or a place or a position as anyone else, right? The question is how much do we want to argue for that position, or debate for that position, fight for that position? Do we need to force others to our beliefs and stuff like that? I don't, I want to think we don't, but if we feel as though we might, some of you might feel that way, right? Remember, underneath this too, we have that Page of Swords. He's learning. He's definitely the element of air, which would feed this fire. He is also about, investigation, checking things out, learning things, finding things out through trial and error. So that might be some of this Five of Wands energy too, is we might have to, what's that phrase? You have to break a few eggs while making an omelet. And not necessarily that a broken egg is all that bad of a thing. It's just sort of through experience. We might have to learn a little bit through, hardship or struggle. That would be the Five of Wands energy, to better understand or to change our thoughts, our perceptions, or our feelings around our understanding or relationship to a situation, right? And that would be that learning aspect of the page that's underneath this. So whatever we might be dealing with, if we are challenged by something today, it is ultimately informing us or teaching us, educating us on some level. And that's something that to be excited about or positive about, right? Because that page would be somewhat positive in its youth and in its willingness to learn. Underneath this, we have Take Time to Heal, which is card number 26, which is an 8. It brings us to a state of balance. In this, it says, give yourself space to heal your heart. Don't carry old wounds into the future. Some of these old wounds could be creating some of this conflict that we see in the Five of Wands, right? If we're acting from that place of old wounds. It's interesting to me that we did see the Curandera of water the last 2 days previous to this card. So be mindful. I think that card showing up 2 days in a row was, like I said, in those readings, was about self-healing, taking that time, and maybe that was in response to this coming up, right? This idea of old wounds maybe coming to the surface. That red wall now, when I'm reading this Take Time to Heal card, that red wall feels almost like a sore, right? Or it feels agitated or hurt in some way, right? And within that, there is a truth, there is an honesty, that white star there that we want to glean out of all of this and not necessarily act from the place of pain or struggle, but from a place of ideally balance and healing that this Take Time to Heal card has here. Whatever it is we are facing or whatever it is we are challenged by through this Five of Wands, I believe that if we study it enough, investigate it enough, understand our thoughts around it enough, like that Page of Wands or the Page of Swords underneath this, right, that's underpinning all of this, we can find a new relationship to it, or we can shift our relationship to it, and we can heal around it. We don't have to allow it to be our guide or be our how do I want to say this? Like, we can make informed decisions around it rather than allow it to inform our decisions. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense, because that's what I want to say to you this morning. And I'm not even fully awake enough to understand that, but that's what I feel compelled to say. We can make informed decisions around it rather than have it inform our decisions, right? So in other words, we can take the pain or the struggle that is in the Five of Wands energy, and we can allow it, we can make informed decisions around it, right? We can heal ourselves around it or own it, whatever our part is, our pain is, our past is. We can own that and make informed decisions in the now, in a more present time space, rather than going into the pain of the past, bringing that forward into the present time space and allowing that to make our decisions for us, right? And that's what I mean by informing our decisions, right? In essence, like if we're acting from, treating others in our now by experiences we've had in the past, we're kind of outside of that. Not only are we outside of that healing, we're also adding to the chaos of the Five of Wands, or the struggle, or the disruption of the Five of Wands, and we're also unable to move beyond whatever it is that we carry with us from the past. The Page of Swords underneath this would be that sort of private investigator, that fresh thought idea, or learning fresh thought around something maybe we've carried with us for a while. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go to the grounding stone. And the grounding stone is, here's something to focus on today, or ground in today as we move through the day, especially with this taking time to heal, is our own happiness, or the happiness of those. I'd say first our own happiness, because when we can instill that within ourselves and within our life, and we can ground in that, we can also sort of shift and be able to find happiness with others, or create happiness within ourselves that automatically liberates others to experience their own happiness, right? And if people aren't happy about us finding our own happiness, well, that's kind of on them, right? And we need to leave that on them. Don't get caught up in like sort of the old patterns. That's this take time to heal card. Don't, like, you know, if we have people that are judging us or upset with us because we're feeling good today, don't like go there with them. Does that make sense? Because that would be perfect Five of Wands scenario right there. Grounding in our happiness or seeking our own happiness. Remember, going back to that original grounding stone for the entire week is that word desire, right? And where is our desire with happiness? How do we get there? How do we make sure and ensure that for ourselves? Are we sure that we understand that obtaining our own happiness or creating our own happiness, there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with placing that first and making that a priority in our lives. And I think that sometimes we live in a world where we're taught that that's not okay, or that we should. I'm not saying don't help others. I'm saying that it always help yourself too, right? Don't lose sight of that and make sure that you are giving yourself sort of the fair treatment as you would give to others. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. That is your forecast for the day. I need to get to work. Please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. We do have a new week coming, or a new reading for the week, and I will see you guys soon. We'll see how this next week rolls out. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate each and every one, and leave a question or comment if you feel so inclined. Bye-bye.